Hey everyone, I traveled literally around the world just so we could sit here and talk about a little word, little two letters, changing two letters. So what can I talk about? Hey everyone, Liz Miller coming in hot from Barcelona and Five9 CX Summit, where they have gathered a really interesting group of customers, partners, and then weirdo analysts like myself, all here to talk about what comes next in this big, wild, crazy world that we like to refer to as not only the contact center, but also in that larger scope of customer experience. So let's get after it. All day today, I have been really enjoying the conversations where people have been talking about how to substantively take AI and actually drive value, sometimes in some small ways, sometimes in some big ways. What are you seeing with your customers, with Five9 customers, really making an impact? Because for about a year, I think everyone was like, AI. And now people are like, AI, but with value.
With value. You know what? You're right. That is totally the conversation. First of all, hola, ¿cómo estás?
Muy bien. Yeah. How do I say I'm tired? But I don't know if this
Cansado. Muy cansado. So, well, first of all, welcome, because I am on this part of the world, living in Madrid for a little while and sharing time in the US and all over the place. So great to have you on my side of the world. So it's fantastic. The question is AI. Well, top of mind for everybody. If I were to break it down, 2023 was the year of failure. It was absolutely the year of failure. You saw some things happen like, well, Air Canada is a perfect example. I hate to pull out Air, but that one everybody knows about it. It's all over the news.
Sure.
Make up your own policies, governance. So it's kind of like that.
Headline maker.
2024, the year of learning. So as we're going through this, and I've talked with a lot of different executives all over the world. Not just here in the Iberia region or Latin America or the US. I mean Germany and the UK. Everywhere that I've talked to people. It's like 2024 was that year of learning. And I feel that 2025 is the year of execution.
Are you seeing, because we're seeing very similar things in that we're seeing that a lot of people kind of experimented, a lot of people put things in the sandbox. I think a lot of people tried the here thing, kind of just the here and there experimentation.
Yep.
Do not get me started on my overwhelming question of, why were we experimenting with our customers?
Yikes. And you know what? And that's what happened. It really did. Somebody goes, oh, I'm going to throw a couple prompts up there. And next thing you know, I'm going to be an AI expert. And, we did see a lot of that out there. And it's sad because you were experimenting with your customers. It takes a true expert in the area to be able to do this. It's not something that you could just go, oh, I'm going to go throw ChatGPT at something. And it's magic.
But that was kind of the first, I think we saw it not just, if we're going to be super honest, I think we did see some of that in our industry, right? When OpenAI realized it didn't have enough corpus training data and they opened it up to the world and told everybody's grandma they could write breakup notes in the style of Jay-Z, but it could be in a Shakespearean sonnet. Everyone went out and tried it. And that got us to that next level of training. It got us to that next level of precision. But then we kind of stalled a little bit because the magic started to get a little dim. So I love that you talked about this as being that year of learning. When we start to see the year of implementation, that year of, the year of value, it's also going to be the year of budget.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Right, because I think the thing that most of us have learned, and a lot of the CXOs we talk to at Constellation have learned, is that this is not I'm going to rob from here to pay for that. This is an investment. This is something that you have to invest in. You have to invest in it now. Yes, you can roll things out as value appears, but this isn't let me steal from my security budget so I can go fund my AI experiment in the corner.
No, this is, you better carve out some money to do it because, to do it right. You can always try to skimp out and do the year of 2023 all over again, the year of failure. We don't want to do that.
Don't do that.
Right. So if you look at it, we've talked about the new CX.
Yeah.
The new CX. What is the new CX? So, I've been doing this for a little while, just a few years. I'm kind of young, but, we'll just call it that. And if you look at it, the transactions, you have three pillars that you really need to look at.
Yeah.
You have the customer, you have the agent experience, and you have the business experience.
Yep.
And each one of those areas is something that you really need to focus on. So, but the biggest picture is, what is the CX experience that you're trying to give your customer? And what technology do you need to apply to that? And, and AI is definitely a great technology to apply to it. On the front end, deflection, self-service, being able to figure out intent, getting them to the right places, but you also have to figure out the empathetic side of things.
Right.
You need to know when it's time to take that customer out of the self-service.
Yeah.
If I have, God forbid, a death in the family, and I'm trying to call an insurance company to figure out what are the benefits, how to do things.
Yep.
I don't need AI to come back and read back my policy and tell me I need somebody to empathize with me and help me get through that experience.
Yes.
And that's that balance. That's the customer side. Then you got the agent. You want to make those agents smarter. In the old days, I used to say, you take the $5 agent, which is now 15 because the minimum wage in the US is 15.
Right.
But whatever that is, €5,
Yeah.
15 euros, whatever that agent cost is, you're trying to make them into that €100 agent. But how do you do that? You have to bring the right technology at their fingertips.
Yeah.
And bringing it's not, oh gosh, we have the agents this, and we have these and these cue cards and all that. It's not just that. It's making it easy.
Yeah.
So you don't lose the agent.
Yeah. It's so interesting that you say that, because I think every area of kind of the strategy known as customer experience, we kind of broaden the lens out. So a constellation, when we talk about customer experience, we're really talking about that enterprise-wide team sport strategy that is intentionally developing experiences and engagements that create durable, profitable relationships with our customers. Right?
Sure.
That's CX strategy for us. And when we start to kind of extend that lens out, it's really easy to see that this transformation, kind of this bumpy road, has happened across lots of different areas of the organization, right? Marketing has been through this. Sales has been through this. We have had to get tools into our sellers' hands to ensure that they can sell from anywhere. We can make sure that our customer is not feeling that this is some predatory, we followed you and now you have to buy from us.
Yeah.
But you always have to make sure that it is following that durability and profitability for the organization, for the enterprise, right? How do you continuously make that happen? I think the interesting thing in the contact center is that when we talk about the application of CX strategy in this space, we somehow only focused on the business goals, and we completely forgot about the goals of our agents and our customers. We kind of treated them like they were both equally the enemy.
Right.
Because we created these get off the phone, no, be on the phone, no, you call us, go hunt for the number. And we kind of created all this culture of really disliking people.
Yeah.
And now when we want to apply AI, a robot, to it, there's kind of this cynicism, I think, that the rest of the organization feels about this push to have one of our most important frontline CX assets, the contact center, be one of those leading edge AI pieces of the enterprise, because they're oh, you're just going to go automate that process. But that's not what's happening here with your customers. And I think that's what's really interesting. I think your customers and what they've been talking about all day has been about how they actually, because they went through the year of experimentation and failure, because they went through that year of learning, that the biggest thing they learned is they needed to step back, and reassess what process they wanted to automate and why.
True.
And how did they look at those two lenses, and then looked at how that went back up to their business decisions. So and I love that that's the culture. I love that that's kind of the vibe that's been running through CX Summit, which I think is awesome. How are you seeing that play out in the regions where you are really, where your heart is, in Iberia and of course in Latin America? These are locations where people expect that human touch. They expect the communications. Listen, Latins are a lot like Asians. We're talkers when we're getting on the phone.
Absolutely.
Right? We want to have the convo.
The Greeks are right there too.
The Greeks are right
there.
there. Koreans will be on the phone all day. You can't stop us. right? But I think that it's that value is also part of that culture, is part of that empathy. Where are you seeing some of your customers across the region really representing that cultural fit, but then also that dive into AI?
So first of all, I believe that the adoption in the Latin American markets and Ibero-America, for that matter, the reason I always lump those two together, you see a lot of influence from Spain and from Portugal into the other markets, and you have a lot of decision making here in Iberia, and then it gets pushed out to Latin.
Sure.
And that influence goes back and forth. I believe technology is definitely at the forefront. I've seen more activity from the last 3 years, everybody trying to automate, everybody trying to use the newest and latest and greatest technologies, everybody trying to push the envelope. And so I believe that they're taking these transactions and really trying to go to the next level. So let's start by this.
Interesting.
Over 60%, it used to be 57, but now it's over 60% of people use WhatsApp in Latin America. Yeah. And if not other places, but not in the US. So if you look at those channels, it's automating those digital channels and voice WhatsApp too. Yeah. Digital voice, and automating those channels, bringing the right information to the forefront, putting the right integrations in place. So where do I see that going? I see it going for the ultimate goal, which is bringing that great experience and making it the channel of choice for the customer, not the company. So I always talk about not omni-channel, it's opti-channel. Mm-hmm. It's the optimal channel for the customer. And I think what we're seeing is that you have a lot of forced transactions because this is the way it has to be. But the customer, once again, going back to the same example, if you have me in a self-service and I have a crucial situation within my family and I want to get out of that channel immediately and get somebody live, I want it in my channel.
I want it in my channel, absolutely. And you said something that I think is so critical to all of this, which is none of this works unless we've taken into account what your individual market, what your region, what your city, what your street, and you pick where you are, but you pick where your customer is. That decision to engage and have that channel of choice be WhatsApp, but then maybe switching to web, maybe switching to text if the person has to get off the phone. Sure. Like there's a lot of asynchronous conversation that also includes asynchronous channel, and being able to seamlessly switch and allowing that person to navigate their own story and be their own not only storyteller but production team as well becomes really important for people. We heard that for all generations, right? Are you seeing that across Latin America as well? I mean, are you seeing this kind of need for hey, I'm not going to sit here. I'm not going to sit here on my, I'm going to keep moving. You have to come find me.
So it's more than interesting because one of the great conversations I was presenting to 150 people at one of the banks in Colombia. I won't use any names or anything, but we're sitting there talking and they have a mix of a lot of different solutions. And one of the solutions wasn't able to do a certain functionality. So we talked about how they were losing thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of calls a month. The cost factor for that, and I asked them, how much does a call cost? And, all that stuff. And it was in the millions, what they were losing a month in lost communications. I said, well, this is really easy. You know their information because they're calling you or they're accessing you. This one was for phone. So they're calling in. You have their information. Why don't you just call them back? Or you have their other information. Why don't you just tell them or email them or something
because the other company that we use for the dialer, it's because the other and what I was going to ask you is, in this scenario, was their technology and was their stack organized by org chart, or was it organized by how they wanted to engage and communicate with the customer?
I think neither. I think they hadn't figured it out at all. So, but it was funny because as I'm presenting, I look at, it's like a little stadium. And I look up at the top and I see this little group going,
You're like, they're the ones.
I'm like, wait a second. Time out. I go, we're in an interactive session. What's going on? And then they come up with this thing. And I said, well, they used our solution in this particular department as outsourced. So it was through an outsourcer, one of our customers, of course. And then the other solution was a different partner for in-source. So that other partner, that other company couldn't blend the two communications.
Yep.
So they didn't have a true 360-degree communication.
Yeah.
Once you dropped and you were lost, even the reporting was hard.
Yeah.
So it was a really good learning lesson. And then, of course, I keep following up with them and saying, have you shifted that over to ours? Yeah, we did. We shifted some more and more and more. It's once again, you got to go back to this strategy.
Yeah.
What is the CX that you're trying to accomplish? It's not just the technology, it's the emotion, it's all the different pieces that go along with it. And, finally, you have to apply the right tech to it. Is it AI? Is it common sense?
Right.
Is
it good old fashioned, ML? Is it good old fashioned? And I think that's where people get really caught up, right? They're like, I'm going to apply LLMs to everything. Like, that's not what they do. Yeah. Like that's just not what they do.
Yeah, great. And so I talk about one thing, which is my favorite thing to talk about, is the chocolate experience. Have you heard the chocolate experience?
No.
Oh, it's fantastic. So a few years ago, about when I first started traveling years ago, my good friend Bob Burger, God rest his soul, passed away a few years back. But Bob comes up to me and goes, I like to bring chocolates to the flight attendants when I come on the plane, just a little something, sometimes a little small one.
Okay.
I go, so I adopted that. And I've been doing it for years. So when I come onto the airplane, I'll have a box of chocolates, little ones, sometimes bigger, depends on how long the flight is. One for the flight attendant, one for the pilots. Mm-hmm. And, I'll come on and to see the smiles, to see the energy you get from it, not everywhere. So this is the experiment part because it's cultural too.
Yeah.
So you get on and the first question they usually ask is, why?
What?
And I go, because.
Yeah.
Because your job is so hard.
Yeah.
And you need to be recognized sometimes for the things that you do.
Yep.
And it's an emotion. And from there, you start to see this incredible emotion. I don't like to be treated special or anything. Not, we all kind of do, but this isn't what it's about. It's about to be the emotion and the happiness and the energy that changes sometimes across the entire plane.
That's so great. I think it's one of the funny conversations that we don't have. Or to be fair, I think we stopped having it because it felt unnecessary.
Sure.
But there has to be a reminder at some point through all of this, is that when you start to look at customer experience, and we have so many different dashboards and analytics and metrics and all the things that we can look at,
sure.
Right? We can measure success by tilting our head and squinting, right? We can come up with whole lots of numbers. But I think the reality is that when our end customers judge customer experience, it is about the apostrophe S that we conveniently leave off. It's our customer's experience. And the durability of that experience is only judged over their feelings, their reactions, their memory, their muscle memory of the accumulation of experiences they have.
Absolutely.
And we have a ton of studies, and everyone has studies, where like, if they had a negative experience, people had stomach aches and heart attacks. And like those studies have been going on since, you and I probably both had uniform color hair and mine didn't come out of the bottle.
Like at least 10 years ago.
No, right, like maybe 5 years ago. We're 5 years ago. But I think that we forget about that, right? That it's about the accumulation of their experience. When we put our customer hat back on, we remember that it's the accumulation. It's not just one. And yes, one horrific experience. I was joking with the Gen Z panel yesterday. Hold on to your rage, people. If you have a negative experience, I'm generous. I'll hold on to my rage. I will hold on to that like a cherished
Gen X
chocolate.
Right?
Like we'll be like, oh, I hate this airline. They did me wrong once, and I will tell everyone about it. Friends, you know what you did. But when it comes,
we're not going to mention names.
We're not going to mention any names except for Air France who did me wrong. But that's fine. It's fine. Don't worry about it. But here's where I kind of want to bring us home. I think that when we start to talk about like, yes, the year of learning, we're going to have the year of implementation. We're going to have this year of, I think, some exciting changes because the mythology of what AI is, it's going to take my job. It's going to kill me. It's going to push me out the pod bay doors. It's going to, all that is going to fall away. And we're going to have tangible results and tangible value that is going to be defined through the eyes of our customers' accumulation of experience, right? if you can think of like 3 things that you are putting into that New Year's resolution, it's all going to come true. Like, here is a gift for all of your customers. Here's a gift for anyone who's kind of working in this customer experience space. What are the 3 things that you've learned, not only just as your expertise as a strategist in this space, but also from your customers? What are those 3 things people should start to question or do differently tomorrow to have these great outcomes in 2025?
Well, I think the first thing is people first.
Okay.
People first, whether it's your customer, your agent, or your business.
Yeah.
Applying this technology, it's technology. It's only as good as the people that you have. If you churn a customer, one bad experience does lead to lost customers sometimes. That's one of my philosophies.
Yeah.
And I'm one of the, lately I've been really flexible. Hey, maybe in my old age, I could be
like, hey, but there's, win-back strategies are also excellent and should also manifest in customer experience, right?
Absolutely. So, but you got to think about what your customer feels and how you do it. Apply that right technology at the right time. Have the empathy to understand that some people don't appreciate being, pushed off, especially in an empathetic conversation. The second thing is your agents need to be retained. If you have less turnover, happy agents, happy customers, happy agents, happy supervisor, because they're performing.
Yeah.
So it's this matrix of greatness.
Yeah.
And then finally, figure out what that end result is for your business. What are you looking for? What are you looking to measure? Because you said it right. Is it a shorter call? Is it a longer call? Is it, great NPS? Is it improving NPS?
Is it a better call?
Is it a better call? Right? So what is it that you're trying to accomplish? What is that metric? Is it to improve your NPS by applying technology to it? Is that NPS going to improve because you have better empathy with your agents because they're happier? So what is that end result? And I would say that really focus on what that experience is from all the pillars, the 3 pillars of the business.
Yeah.
And finally, definitely close the communication loop positively. 360-degree communication is about giving that resolution and then starting that next conversation in a positive direction. Whether it's, booking another flight, whether it's, whatever it is, buying another pair of shoes because they're on sale or whatever that happens to be. Really engage. Let there be closure and let there be a new engagement cycle that continuously brings a positive customer experience.
You know what I love most about your statement?
Tell me.
I got to tell you that it's not about the view, it's about the communication that's in the 360. Because I think we get so myopically focused on, I don't have the right data. I have to have a 360-degree view of my customer. Not even an owl turns its head 360 degrees, right? You don't have to have that, but to have the channels in place, to have the capacity in place, and to have the desire in place to communicate and engage 360. I love that.
Yeah,
I love it.
Absolutely.
That's awesome. Nick, thanks for spending so much time with me.
Well, it's my pleasure. It's always great to get the good energy.
Yes.
I hope you feed off
We're going to do it. It was awesome. Hey, we're going to be back to you with more CX convos. You'll probably also see some clips of this on CRTV. But everybody, give it up for Nick.
Thanks, everybody.
Thanks, everyone.
Appreciate it. Thank you, Liz.